What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, Tottenham 2, Brighton 2, in a gut-wrenching day at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday. I was there yesterday and I was and still am, absolutely broken with what happened on the pitch yesterday. I think words can't even describe the way the majority of the Spurs fans were feeling. You know, finally thinking that we were going to get over the line over 100 days, or was it 110 days yesterday, whatever it was, without a win. No win in 2026, taking a lead into the first half stoppage time, taking a lead into the second half stoppage time, and ending the first half and the second half level pegging. It's just absolutely gutting, man. The bottle of this team came to pass. That's what happened, because, you know, we showed fight, we showed spirit, we showed all the fundamentals that we want, but we still fell flat on our faces with two defensive cock-ups.
Yeah, it was brutal, wasn't it? Absolutely brutal. I think, having slept on it, I think I definitely wake up a bit more hopeful than I felt at the end of the game. When that goal goes in, I think everyone is kind of feeling, oh God, like, even though we played well, even though we put ourselves in a position. First time, when was the last time we were winning in a game? Like,
I know.
In the second half.
I was saying yesterday, like, after the goal, like, I forgot what it felt like to actually be winning in a game.
Just winning, yeah, let alone a win. Just literally be ahead in a game. It's like, it's felt like an eternity. The last time that I recall was Palace at home, and that only lasted 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I guess these ones didn't last too much longer, but like, it's been a long time.
It was 5 minutes, wasn't it?
The first one was
we scored on like
minutes.
39, didn't we?
Yeah, I guess the second one was a bit longer, but 20 minutes. And then obviously we conceded. It was just so gutting. But at least, like, before the game, I was thinking, you know, this Brighton team on good form, it's going to be a real struggle. And at times it was a struggle during the game, but you know what? We dug deep for the periods that we needed to, for especially in that second half. I felt, you know, Brighton had a lot of possession, popping it around so confidently. But I actually was I know a lot of people look at that second half, especially that first like 20 minutes, and think, oh, you know, we barely laid a glove on them. But you know what I saw? A team that was under the cosh, a team that was being dominated and didn't give up too many big chances, and were pretty solid. And then once we got that second win with the subs, you know, we got the goal, and I thought we were pretty good yesterday, and that makes it all the more heartbreaking that right at the death we couldn't get that win. But I'm hopeful that at least we're starting to get better performances and we're starting to play better. And I know it's not a lot to say when there's 5 games to go and we need results right now. I completely understand that, and I think the reality is, if you look in the situation objectively, you know, it's probably too little too late. That's the truth. And obviously we'll look at results this weekend and see if anything can go our way. But was I hopeful looking yesterday that we can at least get some wins on the board and give ourselves a chance? I was more hopeful of that, because I was, after the Sunderland game, I was thinking, are we actually just going to go 0 for 6? And are we going to go down with a whimper? And at least yesterday gave me a bit of hope that maybe there is something left here, and maybe there is something to believe that we can get some wins and actually at least have a chance of beating this thing. Not to say that we will, because I still, right now, it's looking ominous. I think everyone could agree on that, especially the fact we played our best performance of the year and we still didn't get a win. I think that says it all. But at least I'm a bit more hopeful after yesterday than I was before yesterday.
Yeah, look, I agree with that, but like you said, with 5 games to go, it looks bleak, and we're relying on other teams to help us out. That's the reality. It's out of our hands right now. It's completely out of our hands with 5 games to go, and that's not a position that you want to be in. But look, let's stick to the game. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of relegation in a bit, but I think we gave them the platform as fans to do what they did yesterday, and I felt like definitely in the early stages of the game they were feeding off the energy that the fans were giving them. The atmosphere was incredible. Definitely the best atmosphere of the season, in my opinion. It was electric, completely electric, from the concourses to in the ground to outside the ground, everything. Everyone was supporting the team. As soon as you heard as well the lineup, I was outside when the lineups came out, and everyone was like, wow, Bentancur's starting. Wow, Maddison's on the bench, this, that. You know, there was a proper buzz and a proper spring in people's step. And I was thinking, there's no chance Maddison's going to play. There is no chance at all. That choice to put Maddison on the bench was purely for vibes, wasn't it?
Probably. I mean, who knows?
I don't think he would have ever, even if we had that chance to take Javi off, I don't think he would have come on.
Maybe if we were losing with 5 minutes to go and we needed someone, maybe he would have turned to him. I think it was only going to be a last resort kind of thing. I don't think it was ever a plan to use him. But I think maybe if it was a case of we're losing by a goal or and we have a sub left and we're in a period of the game where we're penning Brighton in and we just need a little bit of sparkle, maybe we would have brought him on for 5 minutes and see if he could provide something, and maybe that could have given everyone a lift. So I think it was that kind of situation. I'd never really expected him to play any serious amount of time. Obviously, I mean, I don't know if Maddison himself expected it, because there was pictures of him going down the tunnel and not looking too happy. But I think it was a bit of a weird one because all the subs were already used by that point. So I don't understand what he was going to be unhappy about. I don't think it was about him.
I think he's just unhappy with the situation that Spurs are in. 2-1 up. Our best player, Javi Simmons, going down with an injury, potentially having to go down to 10 men. I think it was purely a team frustration thing of the situation that we're in.
Weird to go down the tunnel. But anyway, look, it's not about Maddison. I think
he went down the tunnel for like a minute.
Maybe only on the cameras we saw him go down. But obviously, you being at the game,
he was there for the final whistle, and he was there for the last few minutes, definitely. And you know what I saw? I saw a James Maddison on the sidelines that was geeing up everyone, giving pep talks to everyone. He was like an assistant manager yesterday, James Maddison.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like. And he was like up on his seat all the time. When Bentancur and Basuma went off, they looked like bloody managers on the sidelines as well, directing the play and everything. Like everyone seemed like they were well up for it yesterday.
Together.
Yeah, everyone was togetherness. Yeah,
100%. Which is really great. That was what we need at this point. In terms of the lineup, going back to what you were saying, it's interesting. Before the game, I was thinking about it, and obviously Basuma Bentancur, first of all, that's the first time we've seen that pivot this whole season, isn't it?
Yeah.
We haven't seen that because Basuma was out for the first 6 months of the season, and then as soon as he came back, Bentancur's been out for the last 3 months. And when you think about it as well, in our run to the Europa League,
they were the best ones. Yeah,
they were our double pivot, weren't they? So that is we haven't seen it since that run. And so in theory, is it our best combo potentially right now?
I think so.
Probably gives us the best balance of a bit of on the ball ability and a bit of know-how, a bit of experience, and a bit of kind of stability in terms of anchoring the shielding the defence. Probably gives us the most coverage as well. Maybe you can say Paulinho if you add him in, but in terms of the balance of on the ball and off the ball, it is probably our best combo, and it's just a combo we haven't seen all season.
Yeah. It's funny with Basuma, because I'm seeing like a lot of people saying what a good game he had, and I think he gave a good effort for the team. Adrian asked me before the game, as we were getting to our seats, all right, come on, what minute is Basuma getting booked then? And I told him 35 minutes, bang, 33 minutes he was booked. But I felt like in that period in the first half when we were under pressure, 10, 15 minutes, Brighton were really putting it on us. We were penned back a little bit. I thought Basuma was letting us down on occasions, just losing the ball in terrible situations. There was this one passage of play where he lost the ball twice on the edge of our area, and it's just like, come on, you've got to have a bit more about you. But look, there was good and bad from Basuma yesterday, and I thought for the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes, he was really good. But then from then on, I thought it was pretty much a downward trajectory until he got taken off.
He got taken off pretty early, didn't he?
Yeah. He should have got, in my opinion, he should have got taken off at half time. I was calling for it. I felt like he was struggling in the last 10 minutes of the first half. He had that booking as well. He was going in for a few challenges where, a few seconds later, it could have been another booking. So I would have taken him off at half time anyway.
I think, fair enough. I didn't think he was warranted to be taken off half time, but I think definitely he was waning as the game went on. I didn't think he had a particularly amazing game, but I thought he had a decent game overall. I agree, there was that passage of play. Definitely when we were under the cosh, Brian were on top of us, popping it around, and he wasn't making quick enough decisions, and he got caught a couple of times. But I think by and large he was okay. But I think rightfully, when we were making those subs, he was the one taken off. We needed a bit more energy, but also quite telling the fact that Bentancur obviously got taken off on 66, I think it was, and we all knew he was never going to play 90 minutes. Yeah. So it's quite telling that he took Basuma off before him, knowing that he was going to have to take Bentancur off.
Yeah.
So that shows that he felt like he needed to take Basuma off at that point. So fair enough, and I think it was the right decision. But I do want to persist with Bentancur Basuma. I do want to persist with it because I do think it's our best pivot, and I think we looked so much better with both of them shielding. And I think it helped Xavi. I think it helped Connor. as well on the pitch, and I definitely think they helped our defence in general. So it was really good to see that pivot. I think the main thing it did at points anyway was just stop Brighton playing through the centre, stop their football. But you know what? Once they got into that rhythm, I felt like when we had all our energy, especially for the first half an hour, like we were really pressing really well, and Brighton was struggling to deal with our press. But as soon as we dropped off a bit, as soon as our energy started to wane a bit, I felt Brighton were then popping it around, and it wasn't a surprise to me when they scored. Like that, in fact, when we scored, it was probably in one of Brighton's best passages. It was a weird one.
They had that thing with Van der Ven, it hit the post and it rolled, and we went up the other end and scored pretty much.
Exactly. Like, as much as I thought we started really well for the first half an hour, but we didn't really create too many clear openings. I think we had a few shots, but nothing really too dangerous. But I think what we did do was we had a bit of control of the game. We were pressing them well. We were making sure Brighton weren't playing through us too much. But then as soon as that energy dropped off, I thought Brighton, you know what, that Van Hecker, I thought some of his passes are absolutely brilliant. He was passing through the lines is phenomenal. Pascal Gross was dictating things late in that game. He obviously set up the chance for what you talked about, the post, and obviously set up the goal as well. Those 2 moments as well, all the time in the world to shape up and cross the ball, so frustrating. But anyway, my point being is, once the energy wasn't at 100, you saw Brighton assert themselves on the game. But I thought, by and large, we dealt with it okay. And then we obviously got the goal, which again came from our pressing. Good pressing moment. And you got to say, a brilliant piece of play from Xavi, wasn't it?
It was unbelievable, that little dink into Pedro Porro, and great for Pedro Porro as well to put himself in that. Well, by the way, why is even Pedro Porro there at that moment in time? I'm like, fine, yeah, go for it. But obviously it gets us our first goal, and I thought it was real bravery from Pedro Porro to be where he is at that moment and to get ahead of Brugge and just think it over him. So I think it was a really nice goal all round, to be honest.
Well, that's it. When you got to play a manager like De Zerbi, he's going to encourage that at times to be brave and get, and obviously when it goes wrong, the risk is you get caught out. When it goes right, you have a moment like yesterday where we get the goal and it's right on his head, isn't it? It's such a perfect ball from Xavi. An inch to the left or an inch to the right, it's getting cleared by the defender or it's getting cleared by the keeper. So it had to be inch perfect right on his head. And it's a brilliant cross. And obviously, Porro just had to get in there ahead of Verbruggen, but it's absolutely fantastic. And that was a real moment of quality. The thing is, before that, Xavi was being quite frustrating, I felt. He was kind of misplacing passes. I think the main thing was he was miscontrolling the ball a lot, and that was frustrating. But I think also they kept fouling him every time he got the ball. He just kept getting fouled.
He kept getting fouled, but a lot of the time it wasn't being given. And I was like saying, how many fouls were against him yesterday that were not given? I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, that was also really
Seriously, it was so frustrating. It was like consistent. Throughout the first half, he was getting hacked down. And I think twice, I don't know what happened. Maybe you can shed a bit more light on it if you remember what happened. But there was twice during the game where he had the ball and then the foul was given against him.
I remember once there was a doggy. I don't remember Xavi. I remember once it happened against a doggy where we were going to be in on goal. We had the ball and he gave a foul against the doggy because his arm hit, I think it was Ayari in the face. But
it wasn't that moment. I remember that moment as well, but it wasn't that moment. There were a couple of moments with Xavi in there where, he had the ball and suddenly the foul was just given against him. But anyway, it was just very frustrating. But the thing is with Xavi, at least he's always showing for the ball. At least he's always trying to do something. He's got that X factor. How many times have we sat here and saying, Xavi has got to play. Xavi has got to play. The last 2 times he started, Atletico Madrid in the second leg, and today and yesterday.
Mad. That's mad, yes. That's insane.
2 goals against Atletico Madrid, obviously one from the penalty spot, and then the assist and the goal yesterday. But how long we've been waiting for that moment for Xavi Simons as well? I know it doesn't end up in 3 points, but at that moment, it's a massive moment, right? We've been waiting for it all season. He's been waiting for it all season because we know he can produce those moments of magic.
Yeah, and you know what? People get frustrated, and understandably, when he misplaces a pass or when he miscontrols the ball. And I think a lot of the time it's in very obvious and very bad situation, so I think it sticks out in the mind when it's a really poor first touch and he overruns the ball, because he does do it quite a lot. But you know what? The guy has magic in his boots and he tries things, and if he's the kind of player, I think he's at the stage of his career, he's very young, and I think a lot of, obviously, you want players in that position. You want them to be puffy. You want them to be like very efficient. You want them to be getting the ball 10 times and keeping the ball 10 times and maybe creating something, 8 times out of 10. Maybe down the line he'll become that player. Right now, it's kind of like he gets the ball 10 times, he'll give it away 5 times. Maybe he'll create something 3 times. That's the kind of player he's on. But you know what? That's better than anything else we have right now. And we need someone who was just going to try things. He's going to risk losing the ball. He's going to risk taking someone on in the final third. He's going to risk taking that shot, because if you keep giving him the ball, I think he's shown that it will come off for him. And I think you've seen it in the stats. He's created way more chances than anyone else for Spurs this season. I think he's the only one. I think they showed a stat on screen in 2026. If you look at games where you've created 3 or more chances, he has 4. And the next nearest person only has 1 for Tottenham. So he's clearly the only one capable of creating multiple chances in a game as well. So I know it's frustrating when he loses the ball, and he needs to get better at that. But at the end of the day, we have to have him on the pitch, because without him, we don't create anything, and we've got no quality in that final third. And he does need to improve, and he's not the perfect player right now, but for what we need, he has to be on the pitch.
But this is the nature of creative players. This is the nature of these kind of players. They lose the ball a lot because they're always trying things. Look at Bruno Fernandes. He also loses the ball a lot because he's consistently trying to hurt teams, and he's just consistently trying to pass the ball in dangerous situations. So that's just the nature of players like that.
No, I agree, but I think Xavi's probably even more wasteful than Bruno at the moment. But
Bruno's a lot. I mean, Xavi has a lot of. Bruno's got a lot of years on Xavi.
That's my point. Yeah, he's young, so he is frustrating at points, but he has quality. Who else could do what he did yesterday in our team? No one. Absolutely no one. Not even, I would say, not even like Kudus. No one in our squad, apart from maybe Maddison, probably only Maddison is capable of what we saw from Xavi yesterday in those moments.
That was a pure Sonny moment yesterday.
It was brilliant.
We see Sonny do that time and time again in his prime. And this is what we thought Xavi could bring this team, and we haven't seen it for one reason or another for a lot of times this season, whether it be position on the pitch or not getting players, whatever. There's been so many different situations or different reasons why we haven't seen that with Xavi. But yesterday he produced it, and yesterday he proved again, like he has done a few times this season, he should be starting pretty much a first name on the team sheet.
Yesterday was also a lot of the case of what could have been, isn't it? Because we get the goal, and then we had that chance straight away, didn't we? Which was Xavi, unfortunately. Brilliant play from Solanke, gets it to Xavi. He does a brilliant turn. You think, okay, bam, just bury it. Or even Moani's completely free there. You can just lay it off for a tap-in. He goes to this little cute finish, and I understand he's playing on instinct, and if it works, it's brilliant. But I just felt like he was being too cute in that moment. He could have just levered it, put a bit of power in it, or been a bit smarter.
It's bloody close, though.
But look, he hit the post, and obviously Moani, I felt Moani was on his heels. He didn't anticipate the ball coming back off it. I think if he anticipates that, it's an easy tap in, and obviously Porro.
I thought Porro was going to bury it as well.
He should have buried that as well. But that moment was so crucial. I think if we get that second goal, I think we go in at half-time 2-0 instead of 1-1. And I think all of a sudden it's a very different complexion. We then, that doesn't go our way, so frustrating, and then all of a sudden they score an absolute worldie, and it's 1-0. So frustrating, and it's just one of those moments. I think everyone was sitting there looking at that moment and thinking, are we going to live to regret that? And I think even though we did retake the lead later on, I felt like that was a crucial moment in the game. If we take a 2-goal lead, I think that's a big moment in the game.
Yeah, 100%. At the time, when I saw the replay on the screen, it didn't show Solanke playing the ball to itself. It just showed Solanke receiving the ball in an offside position. So I was, in a weird way, I was thinking to myself, we got away with one because it's a corner, and if it would have gone in, it would have been flagged offside. But obviously I saw afterwards, after you told me that, it wouldn't have been offside. So very frustrating. But yeah, look, if we bury that, I think we go win that game quite comfortably. I really do. We had momentum on our side. We would have been 2-0 up. I don't think we bottle it in the manner that we did. I really don't.
And of course, an absolute worldie as well from what a goal that was from a team.
That finish, it was like a side foot finished volley.
The angle, how he got it top bit. Have you ever seen it? When was the last time we saw a volley like that?
I don't remember one. I don't remember one.
And
That's the quality that Matoma has.
I understand, like, he was free at the back post, but at the end of the day, he shouldn't be scoring that. Like, it's just an outrageous finish. And it's so frustrating right on the stroke of half time. Again, it definitely is emblematic of the mentality of the team, you have to say, because we did it twice in that game, conceded right before the whistle, which is so frustrating. But you got to say as well, it's just a great finish. I know it's a great ball from Gross. I think the biggest error in that whole move was, if you watch Pascal Gross, he has got so much time and space to cross that ball. No one's getting close to him. You can't give someone like Pascal Gross's quality that kind of time and space. You just can't, because he's going to punish you. And I think in that game, or in that first half already, I think he set up a chance for Welbeck. He set up a chance where the header hit the post, which we spoke about. He actually, literally a second before that, he actually had a really good ball in, which was headed out by Danso, and then he got the ball back from that resulting clearance. So he'd already shown what he can do with those crosses. And so to allow him the time and space to cross that ball in for the fourth time in that game was very frustrating, and we ended up getting punished for it.
Yeah. It was a game of like very few chances, particularly in that first half, until it like kind of burst into life, and there's like kind of like 10 minutes. I was thinking, Spurs are holding, because you got to remember, like, as much as we're gutted, this could be our hardest game on paper in terms of form for the rest of the season. We were talking about the best form team in the league coming to Tottenham, where we haven't won in 2026. Nobody was predicting a Spurs win.
And you know what?
Me.
And you know what as well? You have to say, like, I don't think it was a case of, sometimes you play a team and they're just off the pace, and you could say, oh, they were off there. I actually thought Brighton played quite well for some points in this game. Like, I don't think it was a case of them just not turning up. I just think we were like pressing them into oblivion, making it really difficult. But when they were on their game, when they had their passing game going, we couldn't live with it.
No, we couldn't.
We couldn't live with it.
But it wasn't that often in the game when they were in that mode.
I would say last 15 of the first half.
Yeah.
And then I would say probably first 15, 20 minutes of the second half, and also probably the last 10 minutes.
But what I want to say, in those situations as well, I thought the defence really stood up strong. I thought Mickey van der Ven and Kevin Danso were both having stunning games. I thought Destiny Udogie probably has best game since he'd come back, or best game potentially even this season. Pedro Porro was proper fighting, wasn't he? Not to say they didn't do anything wrong, but I think particularly Danso and van der Ven, the important clearances and challenges and blocks that we're making in the box, I thought, you could just see. And by the way, I said to Adrian before the game, and I was watching them kind of doing the huddle and stuff, I said to him, there's something different about Van der Ven in this warm-up. I actually noticed something about, he had the captain's armband on, by the way, which we didn't mention. He had this kind of look of fire in his eyes and look of fire as he was trying to G up the players and everything. And there was definitely something different about Mickey van der Ven yesterday, and he played like it as well, because it was his best performance in a long time, Mickey van der Ven.
I agree.
So I've got to give Mickey some props yesterday. But it does leave me a bit frustrated. It's just like, you've been playing like with this passion and this energy and this fight, and it's just like we've been creeping into relegation for the last few months. Like, where has this been? Where has this been? Like, why can't you fight for the badge like this bloody every game? Why is it taken for us to go into the relegation zone like this, for us to produce not even the performance but that fight? Why has it come to it like this?
That's a potentially £250 million question, isn't it? That's how much it could cost us if we go down. It's hard to say. Is it a case of motivation? Is it a case of confidence? It's hard to say exactly why, but 100% that question needs to be asked, because there have been points where we've been in positions like the Palace game and he's let us down really badly, and other situations where he's just been completely off the pace. I agree, he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant yesterday. And he was nearly back to his best.
You know what was so good with Mickey? The way he used the ball yesterday. Because so often he doesn't use the ball well enough. There was a couple of times, in the air, he got beaten a few times yesterday, Mickey. But I felt when he was on the ball, driving into space, using the right passing lanes, picking the right option. Yeah. He was so much better in that aspect yesterday.
I agree. I actually felt Danso was struggling with that. I felt when it came to passing. I think Van der Ven was doing a much better. Maybe he's taking more responsibility because he knows we don't have Romero now to play those passes, and we need one of our centre backs.
But even if that's the case, like, that pisses me off.
What?
That he's taking more responsibility now. Yes, he should take more responsibility now, but he should be taking responsibility regardless. He's the vice captain of the team. You know, and we know the quality that he has. So to take it upon yourself now, in you know, when we're in the relegation zone, fine, yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I commend him for his performance yesterday. But it just leaves me a bit pissed off when seeing what I've seen with Mickey van de Ven for the last couple of months.
Yeah, fair enough. Just a quick one as well, just going back to that first half. We should have had a penalty, by the way.
What, a doggy, yeah?
We should have had a penalty.
I was so sure.
That was a penalty.
It was down the other end of the pitch for me, so I didn't see it properly. But I was sure it was a penalty.
It was a carbon copy of what Basuma got booked for.
Yeah.
A little clip from behind. I think it was an absolute carbon copy. And then the referee gives Basuma a booking, and there's no penalty.
I said to Aid when that happened, if that happens anywhere outside the box, it's a foul.
Easy.
So why is it not a foul in the box?
I thought it was a blatant penalty. I thought it was a definite penalty.
So why is VAR not taking that back and looking at it?
Don't know. I thought they should have. I think he clearly trips him up, and I think they got away with one massively. He even falls on top of him at the end. Like, I think it's crazy they didn't give a penalty for that. And obviously we end up taking the lead anyway, but that really annoyed me.
But it's these little decisions that go against you, or big decisions that go against you, that really have an impact. And I thought this game, our luck was changing a little bit, because in the first 10, 15 minutes, we were getting a lot of fouls. And I was saying, like, in that Sunderland game, we weren't going to get half of those fouls we weren't getting. So I thought our luck was changing a bit in that aspect. And then the whole thing with Javi started to happen. I thought
our luck was in when that Van de Ven thing happened. He hit it against his own post, and it hit himself and rolled across the line and didn't go. And I was like, God, is this going to be our day?
I know.
Like, that doesn't happen to us. Which is a brilliant piece of defending, by the way, from Van de Ven, because Welbeck's about to tap it in. So got a bit of luck, but it was the only thing he could do. Absolutely fantastic.
But look, we go in at 1-1.
Yeah.
They go off to an applause at half-time because of the fight they showed. And, you know, on another day, all season, if you concede a last-minute goal, equaliser, you know, well, however well you played, it's just like, oh, same old story with Tottenham. But, you know, the fans noticed the hard work and the penalty potentially, and we should have been leading at half-time, go off to an applause. And the sentiment for me and a lot of fans at half-time was like, fuck it, we go again. We can win this game. Like, we're you know, Brighton, best form in the league, but we're actually showing something today. There's something that we haven't shown in so long. And, yeah, I felt Brighton probably came out the best of the two after half-time. You know, they were having a lot of possession. They were popping it around a little bit. There was not much in it for Tottenham. But we were hanging in there, and we were showing still good traits, fighting for the badge. And then it felt like out of nowhere, this goal that we scored.
Well, I felt that, in that second half, I think it was all Brighton pretty much, but they didn't really create. I think the best chance they actually had was Porro plays his back pass after it looks like they were going to get in, and Kinski realises last minute he can't pick it up, and that nearly cost us. I think apart from that, they had some very nice, pretty football, but I think we were keeping them at arm's length. I think Danso gave a couple of fouls away on the edge of the area. I actually thought he was struggling at times, Danso, to be honest. I thought he was really good at some of the stuff he's good at, which is getting his head on crosses and stuff and getting blocks. But I actually felt when he was being taken on the ground, and when someone was like, when someone had him shaped up, he was actually struggling a bit, and you saw it in a moment where he got booked. Like, he couldn't keep up with Tommy. He had to just block him. He had to foul him at that point. Anyway, but we were keeping him at arm's length. I felt we weren't really allowing too many opportunities. I don't remember too many saves Kinski had to make, like, in that period.
No, not many.
And then we made these subs. We brought Tell on, we brought Gray on, and I think it really changed actually once we brought Paulinho on. All of a sudden, they injected a bit of energy into the team. And he had what's called, all of a sudden, we started getting on the ball a bit. And we had that little brilliant move, didn't we, where I think Paulinho plays it to Gallagher, a little flick into Xavi, and I thought he was just going to roll it across the face goal first time. He cuts back, probably shouldn't have done that, because it just gives the defender a bit of time to get into position. His shot was blocked. It falls to Paulinho, edge of the area. He has a strike and deflects very nearly wrong foot Verbruggen, and that gets blocked. And all of a sudden, there was a bit of energy, and it was all okay. Tottenham are back in this game now. Then we bring on Bergvall, and immediately that injection of energy, immediately within a second, he catches Van Hecke off guard. I think Van Hecke is not expecting to have time on the ball like he's had for most of the game. Bergwijn wasn't offering that to him. Brilliant tackle, gets it into Xavi, and then it was a bit of a bolt from the blue, wasn't it? But what a strike. What a strike that was.
Right from the sunny zone, man. That is the X factor that you have with Xavi Simons, and it's just been ridiculous while we haven't been playing him. You know, we've said it in this stream already, but that's the reality. It's just like, again, it just leaves me so frustrated. Like, why have we not been playing Xavi? Just why have we not been playing him? The last 2 starts, 2 goals against Atletico and a goal and assist yesterday. It's just ridiculous.
And I think, and then obviously it cued wild scenes, jumping in the crowd, shirt off. Some people have said, was it too much? Well, you know, should we have been calmer in that situation? But you know what? At the end of the day, we've had such little positivity, and we needed something special. And I understand. We did look. If we're being honest, the team reacted like we just scored a last-minute winner, and that was it. Like it was going to be the end of the game, and it probably was a tiny bit over the top. But in the situation we're in, like it felt significant, didn't it? It felt like a massive moment in the game. Like it could have been the goal that got us out of the relegation zone.
Why? Because Brighton, as much as they were playing well, they weren't creating much. So we thought more of a game for the next 15 minutes, and we've won this game.
And obviously, Xavi got booked, but it was a brilliant celebration, and the scenes were unbelievable. We could see it on screen.
But it's just like, how many times the players take off their shirts and we don't go and win the game?
Honestly,
it's just like, can we have a rule now at Tottenham where players, when they celebrate, they cannot take off their shirts? Like seriously, Richarlison has been burnt time and time again. Now Xavi, and it's just like, we need to stop. Look, jump into the crowd, go mental, do whatever you want, but just don't take off your shirt. You know what I mean? It's just like every time.
I think what really cost us, because obviously we get the goal, brilliant, and I think everyone at that point was like, okay, we hold this now. I think that was kind of probably the mentality at that point. I don't think it was about killing the game off, going for a third or anything, as much as that'd been great. I think it was all about just, you make sure we don't concede at this point. But I think what really did cost us was Xavi going down, because we pretty much played those last 10, 15 minutes with 10 men. That was the truth. You could see he was really struggling.
Yeah.
Every time he got the ball, he was giving it away. He couldn't keep it. He wasn't really helping the team as much as he could off the ball as well, leaving pretty much Brighton having another free man for most of that time. And you know what? The pressure was building. When they scored, it wasn't a massive surprise, to be honest, because as much as it was gut-wrenching and heartbreaking, like they had that chance just before, didn't they, where Kadioglu hits a side netting. That could have been a goal, and they were putting us under serious pressure for those last 10 minutes. And I think if we were able to take Xavi off and just get another player in there to help out, I reckon we see out that game.
You know, I've seen a lot of people, and someone next to me was saying this as well with the game yesterday, being like, it's really bad management from Roberto De Zerbi to use all 5 subs before the 70th minute mark or 75th minute mark, wherever it was. And I'm thinking, and I was there thinking, like, I thought the subs were spot on from Roberto De Zerbi yesterday. I thought every player made an impact that came on. Every player that came off, I think, had to come off at that point as well. Udogie, when he came off for Jed Spence, I thought Udogie was really flagging in the last 20 minutes or half an hour, and he had to come off. I thought when Bergwijn came on, he made an instant impact. Bentancur obviously had to come off. Bissouma had to come off, in my opinion, at that point as well. And there was one more sub in there as well. Who was the other sub?
It was Spence.
No, I said that. Spence.
Bergwijn, but Paulinho for Bentancur. So maybe you said
Moani.
Oh,
and Moani had to come off because he was crap. So what change could Roberto De Zerbi left? Like, because I thought all those players had to come off.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem with the subs. Obviously, you could definitely say, I think most of the time, managers do leave one sub in case of injuries late in the game. So that it's for that reason, isn't it? Just in case you get something late in the game, because you never know who's not going to finish. But I didn't have any problem with the subs. I think the problem was, I think Bentancur was definitely pre-planned. You saw Udogie had his thigh strapped with ice, so let's hope he's okay. Clearly, he was struggling late in the game, so he had to be taken off. So I think those were pre-planned. Maybe the Bissouma one, he was expecting him to play longer, and he felt like he had to take him off, which was a shame. Obviously, Tell from Moani had to happen because he was playing awful. And then who did Bergvall come on for? Bergvall came on for Gallagher. So maybe it was that one totally necessary, but then again, Bergvall got the assist straight away.
That's what I'm saying.
So can't really complain about that either.
I don't think you can knock any of the changes.
Yeah.
I don't. So I think it's, obviously if Javi doesn't get injured, no one's mentioning it.
Yeah.
But Javi did get injured, so it's a talking point. But I don't really have a problem with it. It's just unlucky what happened at that moment in time.
But it did cost us.
It did cost us.
Because I think if Javi doesn't have cramp at that point, I really do think we see out the game.
But the only one that you can talk about is Bergvall for Connor, right? And if Bergvall doesn't come on, maybe we don't even score that goal.
Yep.
So it's hard to say. It really is hard to say. And if Bergvall doesn't come on, maybe we lose the game in the last 10 minutes instead of draw.
Yeah. So can't really. What could you say? I didn't really have any complaints about De Zerbi. I actually think he managed the game overall pretty well. I think the subs were at the right time. I think the way he had us playing was really good. Obviously, we didn't talk about it, but right at the end of the goal that we conceded, Danso, man.
What is he doing? What is he doing? I've spent all week talking up Kevin Danso. All week. Not as much as Brian. but
Captain Danso.
But look, all week I've been talking that Kevin Danso up, and that at the end is just, oh, man.
And De Zerbi mentioned it as well. He
Yeah,
said,
I heard what De Zerbi said.
The moment we had the ball, that can't happen. Like, we have the ball.
You just get rid, man. You're in the stoppage time. You're in the 5th minute of stoppage time. You just boot the ball anywhere you can. Anywhere you can. It's ridiculous. What Kevin Danso did yesterday.
Yeah. But also, I have to say, as much as Danso rightly get blamed for it, I mean, the defending from the team for the goal, there's a snapshot of when we concede. Like, he's so free, Rutter. Like, there's a few players free as well. Like, we're just all over the place. I think it's a consequence of us losing the ball in a bad area, and they hit us very quickly, and we have one less player pretty much defending, which really costs us. But, there's players who are out of shot who are just not defending for the team at that moment. And in that moment, everyone needs to be digging in, and it just felt like there were too many free players for Brighton. And look, it is another great finish from Rutter, but so frustrating. Frustrating.
It is, but you could see, like, as soon as Javi went down injured, the whole team were panicking. The whole team were panicking. Sure. And you could see that
they're panicking so much. They all the players were like doing this to the subs bench. You're not even remembering we've made 5 subs, and I think that's how much they were panicking.
Yeah,
because they thought we have to get him off, and they couldn't even remember. So they're panicking so much.
There's a comment here that says, Ben, maybe De Zerbi tells the defenders not to ever boot it. I mean, yeah, that might be the case, but you're 5 minutes into stoppage time, 2-1 up. I promise you De Zerbi will not have a problem with Danso booting the ball in that situation. That point, no. Like, fine, if it's like the 50th minute, yeah, but not in the 95th minute, man.
No chance. And also, we were definitely Kinski was given a lot of license to play the ball long.
Kinski was fantastic yesterday. He really was. From his crosses, I thought he was so strong. He didn't have to make too many good saves during the game, but there was one moment where he had to rush off his line and come out of goal and be that kind of sweeper keeper for us as well. I thought everything he did fantastic, really well.
And there was another moment, there was a corner which it was going to go right on Van Hecke's head. And I was watching, I thought, oh God, he's about to score here. And Kinski just gets a little touch to it and gets it away. I thought it was a brilliant piece of goalkeeping. And I thought he was really brave, especially given the fact that he injured his head last week really badly, and clearly he's still got a thing there. I think he was really brave. I feel like
he's so much more confident from corners than Vicario is, man, already. And I feel like he brings a bit of calmness to that back line as well. He's so calm when he's on the ball. I'm really enjoying Kinski these last 2 games. I really am. And a massive, massive big up to him to respond to taking off for Atletico 15 minutes.
I don't know if you probably didn't get it from being in the crowd, but Vicario did a Ramsdale moment when Kinski did like some good action, and you had Vicario on the bench like that, clapping like that.
At this point, I don't even want to see Vicario back in the team. I think he probably will come back in the team.
I don't mind. De Zerbi says he's going to be back in training Monday, Tuesday. So I wonder if for that game, is he going to go with Kinski, who's playing well, or with Vicario straight back in after his hernia?
Can we talk about Conor Gallagher? Because we've given him so much shit. So much shit. That was his best performance in the Spurs shirt, in my opinion. I thought what we saw from Conor Gallagher yesterday is what we expected to see when he brought in, that all-action, combative, so aggressive, winning the ball back, winning his duels, standing up for the team. I thought he was so good and made such an impact for us yesterday.
Yeah. I think more off the ball than on the ball.
Yeah, 100%.
I think on the ball there was a couple of really frustrating moments, which could have led to more. But off the ball, he just ran himself into the ground, didn't he? Absolutely phenomenal. 2
out of 3 aerial duels won, 5 out of 6 ground duels won, and 3 out of 3 dribbles successful as well.
Yeah, his dribbling was not bad, but I thought his passing, again, whatever, we've said about more again about Gallagher, but obviously I thought his pressing, which is one of the main reasons I thought we got him, was because of how much he is a bit of a pit bull, and we just haven't seen it as much, and I thought his pressing was brilliant.
When he went off to a standing ovation from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and that tells you a lot, because everyone's been groaning every time he's in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
So you got to give him credit for the performance he had. Like him and Bentancur, I thought made a real difference in that midfield yesterday, particularly Bentancur, just that calmness, that composure, the aggressive nature as well. I thought Bentancur was fantastic. Conor Gallagher was fantastic. And they're just giving us fundamentals that we just haven't had in this team for so long. I think it's more on how starving we've been as opposed to actually how good they actually were yesterday, in my opinion. But they were pretty good.
Yeah. I think, again, I think there's so much, obviously, room to improve, but I think it was more definitely off the ball. Our pressing and energy was what.
We just haven't seen it.
I think that is where we were good yesterday, and I think once that energy started to wane on both halves, we started to struggle a bit. I think obviously De Zerbi's known for his incredible on the ball ability in terms of how he coaches teams, and I think once the game calmed down, that's where Brighton were good. Brighton were the ones better on the ball than we were, but we were probably better off the ball than they were. And I thought, by and large, it was a really good tactical battle, and I thought we gave as good as we got and probably deserved. I think at the end of the day, we created the better chances and probably deserved.
We deserved it.
We deserved it. But we didn't get it, and the defensive mishaps and right at the end cost us, and that was really, really frustrating. But if we can play like that and add a few more elements to our possession-based game, which I think needs still a lot of work, I think maybe we can get some wins. And I think the main thing is that energy, pressing teams, force them into mistakes, making them rush. I think Brighton did struggle against that at times. I think also Brighton showed their quality as well.
They did, and we know that because they're a very good side, and they've proved they're a very good side by being in the conversation for European football right now when they were looking like they could be dragged into the relegation battle. They're a very good side. They're on very good form, and I think it's a big credit to De Zerbi and a great credit to Spurs to be in the game and actually match them up yesterday. And De Zerbi did something yesterday that Frank, definitely in the latter stages, and Tudor just couldn't do, and get the team working hard. So I think De Zerbi's already starting to rub off on these players. Yeah,
exactly. And it was the first time. When was the last time we were actually winning it in the second half of a game? Was it literally the last game we won?
Yeah, Crystal Palace.
And actually, Sunderland we were winning till late on, weren't we? Sunderland at home.
Oh, we conceded it.
Because Robbie scored it late. That's probably the last time we were actually winning a game, until late.